It was November 10th. It was the day after the election, and we were all pretty crestfallen at that moment. I forwarded her our dean's response to faculty, and I saw that the response did not go out to the graduate students. And I'm like, hey, they need to hear this. So I forwarded it to Amity, and immediately she wrote back and she said, oh, I could go on. I'm so frustrated that GOCO hasn't done anything this last year. I am frustrated about a lot of things. Actually, it's kind of making me want to be a dean someday. I never thought I would actually want to be the administrator type, but I value equity and access. I try to use my voice to help others as much as possible, hence my weekly seminar and some other things in the works. That is partially what drove me to teaching in middle school. Now that I think about it, that's also why I ran an LGBT grad student group at the University of Washington. I have a fair amount of organizing experience, it turns out. So, this is the type of person that she was. And one of the last times I really saw her was in September 3rd of 2020. And we had bumped into each other in the hallway, and I said, Amity, I just got this great article by Dave Greenberg, and it's called Why Science Teachers Should Care About Social Justice. And it's written for teachers, and you've got to read it. And I love what this article says. It says, social justice science education involves using science knowledge and skills to make the world a fairer and more just place for everyone. And it goes on to say, this can benefit science learning because the shared desire to make a positive change as a class can motivate students to reach related science goals. Then students can activate their own ownership of content, not just the absorption, to take action themselves and or convince others in a position of power to create positive change. And I really think that this just captures what I knew about Amity, and she wrote back her thanks of me sending this article, and she said, I just decided to start the semester with a CRT as a foundational theory, and then add on it the ambitious science teaching as a framework. Then use the 5E frame as a tool for planning. I mean, that's so her. I have been working on developing these connections for a couple of years as I worked on my dissertation. They aren't expressed expressively in my dissertation, but I do feel that my work supports this combination, and my experiences with novices also support it. Mm. So I want to end with Amity's words, and just thank you for being here to carry on her legacy. I think this is where we can have our students turn to really think about and learn about teaching science education with heart, and understanding that teaching with heart is always teaching about social justice.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol. Carol and I talked a little bit a few weeks ago about kind of what she was going to talk about and what I would talk about. I had the pleasure of serving as Amity's advisor. And so we bonded pretty early on.
Without any further ado, you'll join in the middle with Christy Newton, who is the current faculty chair. Would you like to say anything?
Sure. I just want to welcome everyone on behalf of Dean Davis to Department of Teaching and Learning, where Amity's home was. And I just want to say briefly, I wasn't her chair when she was here. I was her colleague, and even as a student, she felt like a colleague to me, inspired me. I know her not because I'm a science educator, but because her passion for understanding teachers and students through science education extended so far that she through her dissertation, came to my math methods course every single class, just so she could better understand, was they noticing different when they were in math versus in science, and that wasn't even something that she had to do for her dissertation. So I mean, her passion cannot be overstated, and she was a true inspiration to me, and in terms of really forefronting the students past the the content really. So I'm honored to be here, and I want to thank all of you.
Challenge your views.
We're looking now at books that came from Amity's personal library that are in the resource material library here, and she's got her copy of Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together? And her notes are in there. And also Jonathan Colson, Savage Inequalities, and she has she has her notes in here. She's already community. Oh, and do you know where that's printed? That's in Syracuse. That's the Cultural Workers Center.
She highlighted this entire